How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Tales from the Darkside. This is Season 1, Episode 8, and this one's entitled Inside the Closet. This is from November 18th, 1984, and is directed by Tom Savini, in what I believe to be his directorial debut. Tom Savini, obviously best known for being a makeup and special effects artist. Really cool, crazy, amazing things. And then when you talk about him directing, most famously he would go on to direct the first remake of Night of the Living Dead, the best one. If you haven't seen his remake, definitely check it out. It's a really cool version of the story. But also, he's the second of the Creepshow 3 to show up. Obviously, Romero created the show, he's a producer, and he wrote the first episode. So Romero was there, and now with this episode, Tom Savini's here. And then in the next episode, I think it's literally the next one, Word Processor of the Gods, Stephen King shows up. So the Creepshow 3 are coming into this show. This is why a lot of people consider Tales from the Darkside to be Creepshow the series before there actually was a Creepshow the series. And it's good to see these three guys start to show up. So Stephen King, I believe his episode is up next, so that will be fun. Anyway, this episode stars Roberta Weiss and Fritz Weaver, and only those two. This is an episode with only two characters in it. I guess you had to save money to do some Tom Savini creature effects. But they really do carry the episode on their own, you know. Fritz Weaver is a creepy guy, and she's there to react and explore and try to figure out what's going on here. Anyway, this episode was written by Michael McDowell, and in another curiosity, he's the only credited writer. A lot of Tales from the Darkside episodes are based on short stories, or someone else had the idea and then someone actually wrote the script. This is one of the few that's actually one writer, or at least so far. And this is about a girl, a graduate student at a college who needs to find a room to rent, and she finds a professor is renting out one of the last few rooms. She goes there, and in the corner of the room is a tiny little locked door, a closet, and the professor says, "Oh, my daughter can't find the key for that closet, so don't worry about it. I've given you a wardrobe, just put all your things in there." But of course, in the middle of the night, she's going to hear something rattling at the closet door. A very classic mystery. There's something in that room. I know it. And I guess I should just come out and say it. This is the episode. This is the one with the little guy in it. And I don't really consider it a spoiler. A lot of the episode obscures him. But that being said, he's on the box, you know? He's on the back of my Solo Season 1 DVD. But if you guys have the new one, the new DVD has all 4 seasons in one thick case. And he's right there on the front cover. So if you've seen the show, like if you picked up the DVD to put him in, you've seen this guy, and he's kind of become the show's mascot, you know? If you need an image for Tales from the Darkside, you're probably going to pick out this guy. He's a little white monster with big teeth and big red eyes, and he's not supposed to be a puppet, but he's clearly puppeted around old school special effects style, and it's really fun to see him. I wish he got more screen time. And that's one of the things, don't go into this expecting Trilogy of Terror. I wish it got that far, but to be honest, Tales from the Darkside always had a very low budget, and the show worked really well with this budget, and I have to give major props for Tom Savini for getting this creature into a low-budget episode of Tales from the Darkside. And even though it's not in there for a long, long time, the fact that he got something this cool on this low budget of a TV show, it really major props for him for doing that. But this is one of those episodes that it's very understated, and when you leave it, you kind of want to know more about the story. And this is one of those things where I feel like, later on, Joe Hill would try to bring Tales from the Darkside back to the CW, and the show didn't get picked up. But if they do ever bring Tales from the Darkside back, I would love to see them remake a few classic episodes. If you did this episode, and you made it an hour-long TV block, and you told us a little more about the past, and you gave us a little more time with this creature, I mean, special effects have gotten a lot better. I would love to see this creature get the trilogy of terror treatment that it really deserves, but as it stands now, you really only see it for the last few minutes of the episode. It's really, really cool, but I wish it was more, but like I said, low budget, 80s TV, major props for them pulling off as much as they did. But that being said, that's one of the things you have to talk about. The mystery with this episode. This episode is very simple, very understated, and it's, basically the locked room, what's behind the door, which of course we all know because we just picked up the DVD or have seen any image from Tales from the Darkside. But it really is not just the mystery of the girl being in the room and wondering what's going on, but even after you watch the episode, there's tons of little hints. The professor that she's moving in with, he's a professor of anthropology. There's all these skulls and taxidermies around the house, and you start to wonder, did his career have something to do with it? And also, his wife's dead, his daughter, he said, moved out. We never saw any of this. And people have started to take little bits of the background, little bits of dialogue, looking at the creature itself, and starting to really analyze and come up with fan theories as to what's really going on here. Most of the time I would say, I really want more of the story, I really want to see more, I really want to know what happens, and I do, but this is a rare case where what they gave us, even though it doesn't go near far enough to explain everything, it's a really cool creature and a really cool atmosphere, and it gave fans enough to latch onto that they want to go back and they want to rewatch this episode and they want to try to figure it out. And I feel like a lot of shows want fans to analyze the show more than they do, and they keep trying to get them to do that. But this is a case where they really did latch on and really did start to analyze this episode and try to figure the mystery out themselves, even though it doesn't tell you. And that is kind of an interesting thing with this. But anyway, I really would like to see an expanded version. I mean, you could even go to a full movie. I did kind of think that'd be cool, is what if you did remakes of Tales from the Darkside episodes as movies, maybe on like some streaming service or direct-to-video or something, but putting out a bunch of Darkside movies and just really giving stories that needed more space to breathe. I would love to learn more about this little guy. I mean, he is the show's mascot. But all that being said, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot in more specific detail. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few of the plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what this episode's about. We open up with this girl knocking on a professor's door. He opens it up and she goes, "Do you have that room for rent? I need a place to live." And you find out she's an art history graduate student, I believe, and he's the dean of a veterinary college. He's a professor in anthropology, and he says, "I do have the room, but there's a reason it's not been rented out. I'm a very strict landlord." I don't like any loud noises. You see, he works from home. He worked from home before everyone else did it. He works from home. He does a lot of his writing and his study at the house. So he doesn't want any TV, any music. He doesn't want boyfriends coming over and making a ton of noise. And she goes, that's fine. I just have my slide projector. No boyfriend. I'm just looking to study. And he goes, oh, well, that's good. No boyfriend? Well, let me show you the room. And he takes her up to what he says is his daughter's old room. It's the 3rd floor. It's the only thing up there on the 3rd floor other than the attic. And the room really is converted attic space. So it's a relatively big-sized room, but the one thing that you notice about it is there's a little door in the corner. It's like a half-size door. It's really small. And the professor says, that's a closet. My daughter could not find where she put the key, and she left to, she got married and she moved out. Now, this is another one of those things where you never see the daughter and you never can confirm this backstory, and fans kind of wonder if there's more to it. But anyway, there's no key to this closet, and he says, I left you a wardrobe, put your stuff in there. If you need more space, I can give you a closet on the 1st floor. So she moves in, but in the middle of the night, she hears the rattling of that door handle. She hears something move around. And at first she thinks it's rats, and she tells this to the professor, and he's dismissive. We don't have any rats in here other than the ones that are specimens that I have preserved in formaldehyde. So he's not really listening to all this. But of course, she goes back to the room, and every now and then she'll find the door has opened on its own, but it's empty. And if there was something in there, where did it go? So every now and then this door will open, but of course it'll be locked whenever she tries to show it to the professor, and he'll say, of course it's locked. I told you that. And she's like, I think there's something up there. I put a rat trap and it's missing. And he is dismissive. And the thing is, I really do like this character, Fritz Weaver. He plays this part where it's really creepy, but it's not in-your-face creepy. And it's one of those things where if we didn't suspect something was wrong, we would think he was just a proper older gentleman. But the fact that we're on edge, we see every little thing he does through this creepy eye, and he subtly leans into that. There's a speech later where he talks about how his wife died, and you're like, that's a sad story, but I'm suspicious of you, and I'm wondering if there's more to this, you know? So he really does pull off this part well, and you do wonder. Now, of course, it builds up to a bigger finale, and I won't spoil how it ends, but I will say the last scene there is a really good, really creepy twist scene, and I definitely won't spoil that, but I do love the ending of this episode. But yeah, overall, a fun episode, very understated. Like, you look at the last one we got, Slippage, where it really took this real-world fear and built it into this big, over-the-top way. That was big, and this, it had something there, and you feel like there's a lot just beneath the surface, even though the episode, by the end of it, doesn't tell you a lot of the stuff that's going on, and it is really understated. Like I said, I could see a whole movie based on this concept, and I'd really like to know more about what this is, but hey, this is a fun episode. It builds to a cool puppet, and it gives Tales from the Darkside its mascot. I try to look up, does the fan base have a name for this creature? I would like to know. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click there and see more. And this should be my Tales from the Darkside playlist. I've reviewed the first 7 episodes on there already, as well as the Christmas episodes. I jumped ahead and reviewed those during December, including the Clive Barker one, and I also have a review for the comic based on the Joe Hill show that never got picked up, the reboot of Darkside. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.